is the working replica of William Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. Inside there they carry out all of Shakespeare's best plays in the exact manner and detail that they were carried out 300 years ago. There are no light effects, there are no sound effects, everything is exactly as it was. Now when the flag above the theatre, the red flag, is flying at full mast, flapping about limply in the wind there, that means there's a performance on inside there tonight. They only show the plays during the summer months as it's completely open-aired like the original, and when that flag's flying that means there's a performance on inside there tonight at 7:30. It could be any one of his plays, I couldn't tell you what one it is. They show all the great plays in there. Could be Macbeth, could be any of the others. And here's the boat now, he's got the Millennium Footbridge, aka the Wibbly Wobbly Bridge. Earned that nickname because back in June 2000, only 3 hours after its grand opening by Her Majesty the Queen, it had its grand closing by the Metropolitan Police due to the fact that it was shaking like a leaf. So much so they had to close the thing down, strengthen the supports at a further cost of £6 million, and 18 months on it was safely reopened. On your left hand side, the old Bankside Power Station, which is now home to the Tate Gallery of Modern Art. Now does anyone on board like modern art? They do say it's very popular. 3 people. As I said, it is very popular. Modern art is the place to go. Inside there are some fantastic examples. You've got an unmade bed, they've got a burnt out car, they've got a half-eaten lamb curry, they've got a wall with yellow paint on and a light that turns on and off. In stark contrast to that rubbish, on your right hand side you've got something worth seeing. Sir Christopher Wren's masterpiece, St Paul's Cathedral. It stands 365 feet tall at the Gold Cross. It took 30 years to construct, and that dome is the second largest unsupported dome in the world, second only to St Peter's in the Vatican City of Rome. Wren, the architect, is buried in the crypt alongside Admiral Lord Nelson and Florence Nightingale. If you want to take a closer look, it stands up at the top of Ludgate Hill. Ahead of us now you've got Blackfriars Railway Bridge. This is currently a very large building site, because what they're doing here is they're strengthening this bridge. They definitely need to, because they're going to build a new Blackfriars station up on top of the bridge. It's going to feature extra platforms, lots of shops, so this bridge has got to be strengthened quite significantly. This is one of many large building projects taking place in London at the moment. They want London all spick and span for 2012 because we are hosting the Olympic Games. The Olympics are costing us, the taxpayers, billions and billions of pounds of our hard-earned cash. It will be worth it though in the long run, because you can't put a price on a couple of bronze medals. On the head of the boat now you've got Blackfriars Road Bridge, opened in 1869 by Queen Victoria. This is a very attractive bridge. The marble columns on the face represent pulpits of a church to commemorate the old Blackfriars Monastery, which used to stand nearby on the right. Once we're through this very attractive bridge, on your right hand side you will see an attractive Gothic looking building with a black pinnacle and steep green roof. That is the old City of London School for Boys. That was London's first ever school, and some of the country's most powerful and intelligent men were educated there. Look between the 5 arched windows and you will see 4 figures that have been sculpted into the stone. Those are all the famous ex-scholars and pupils who attended that school, and they are, from left to right, of John Milton, Isaac Newton, William Shakespeare and David Beckham. Come on, take the trip seriously. On your left hand side you've got a red brick building there. That is the quite a famous landmark. That's the Oxo Tower, formerly a cold store where they used to store frozen meat. What you've got there today, shopping mall in the bottom 2 floors, lots of arts and craft shops. You then got 5 floors of luxury riverside apartments. They sell for about £2 million each. Not bad for ex-council flats. And on the top floor is an exclusive restaurant belonging to Harvey Nichols. Very nice, but very pricey. Now, if you look over on your right-hand side there, I know we've got the boat in our way, but you can just about make out, can we all see the green lion faces on the river wall? Yeah? Now, the tide's actually ebbing at the moment now, but a couple of hours ago, the water would have been about 2 foot beneath the bottom of those lions' faces. When we get a big tide, the water will actually touch the rings in the lions' mouths. That's on a very big tide. If the tide threatens to get any higher than that, they close the Thames barrier to stop any more water coming in from the sea into central London. We have actually got a bit of a saying regarding the height for tide and the lions' faces. They say if the lions are drinking, then London's sinking, and if the heads become ducked, then London is flooded. On your right hand side, you've got an archway set into the stone. That's the Temple Arch or Temple Gate. That's a boundary mark that separates the City of London we've left behind with the City of Westminster we've now just entered. On your left hand side, you've got a black and white glass fronted building and tower block behind. Those two buildings make up Kent House, the headquarters of LWT. That is Channel 3 for the locals. You may have noticed that they use this part of the Thames as a backdrop to quite a few of their programmes. Also on your left hand side, with the large electronic display board on the front, is the National Theatre. Now, you can't judge a book by its cover because the inside of that building is very nice. There are 3 fine theatres inside there. You've got the Olivier, the Cottesloe and the Littleton. But the outside is not so nice. For 6 years running, it was voted London's ugliest building by top architects. One year, Prince Charles judged the competition. He said that building is the carbuncle of the South Bank, and without a shadow of a doubt, the ugliest on the banks of the Thames. And who are we to disagree with Prince Charles? He definitely seems to know a thing or two about ugly things on the buildings. On your right hand side, you will see a building with a green dome on the roof. That is the old Palace of Somerset used to house all the Dukes and Earls of Somerset. In more recent years, it's been the Registrar General's office, where they stored the records of births, marriages and deaths in England and Wales. Ahead of us now is Waterloo Bridge, known locally as the Ladies' Bridge, as it was constructed by an 85% lady workforce. Reason for that? It was built during World War II. The men was away fighting for the King, so the ladies built this bridge. True to form, the girls chosen it a very expensive stone, a self-cleansing Portland stone, which explains why the faces are very clean, and the underside, where the rain does not touch, does really show up London's grime. Anyway, that aside, pat on the back, ladies, you built a lovely bridge. Ahead of the boat on your right-hand side is a large granite column standing proudly on the river wall. This is Cleopatra's Needle. It's got nothing to do with the famous Egyptian Queen Cleopatra, but it was in fact a gift from the Egyptians, because during the Battle of the Nile, when they defeated Napoleon and the French, we gave them an almighty hand. We supplied them with soldiers, their arms and their ammunition. And in return for that very kind gesture, they supplied us with that stick of rock. There's also evidently an identical one to that in Central Park, New York. Over on your left-hand side, you've got the Royal Festival Hall, built for the Festival of Britain 1951. Up until 3 decades ago, that building was this country's premier concert and entertainment venue. Frank Sinatra and Shirley Bassey, to name but 2, who had performed inside there. On the head of us now, we've got a bridge, 3 bridges in one. We've got the Charing Cross Rail Bridge. It serves Charing Cross Station up there on your right, with a glass roof, which is supposed to represent a train emerging from a tunnel. And this bridge is twinned with the Hungerford Footways. We've got a custom on here. We make sure we wave to the people up above, because they say if you can get anyone to wave back from this bridge, it will bring you many years of luck. So there you go. You're feeling sociable? Did anyone get someone to wave at them? Yeah, they say if anyone waves back at you, it will bring you 7 years of bad luck. And if no one waved then, you get another chance. Yeah? Everyone's waving today. Pretty straightforward really. If people are visiting London, they wave, and if they live here, they don't. On your right hand side, you've got a building that looks a bit like Dracula's castle. That's Whitehall Court Mansions, London's first ever luxury riverside apartment. Oscar Wilde had an apartment up there, as did George Bernard Shaw. Today that building houses the luxurious 5-star Royal Horse Guards Hotel. On your left-hand side, the London Eye, the world's second largest Ferris wheel. Now, if you come out on this boat a couple of years ago, we could have told you that was the world's biggest big wheel. However, since then, they've built a bigger one in Asia called the Singapore Flyer. The London Eye stands 440 feet high, takes 20 minutes to complete one full circle, and on a busy day, every time it completes one rotation, when that wheel is full to capacity, which it is very regularly in the summer months, it will earn the owners Merlin in excess of £11,500 every rotation, every 20 minutes. It earns Merlin a lot of money. It earns them so much money that they're now seriously considering changing the name. They're thinking of changing it from the London Eye to the Wheel of Fortune. Now, moving on, hands up if you can see Big Ben. No one can see it. You can see the St Stephen's Clock and Tower, because Big Ben is the name of the 13-ton bell inside the St Stephen's Clock Tower that strikes on the hour, and the hour only. The bells that we all hear on the 1/4 past, the 1/2 past and the 1/4 to, these are actually the chimes of Westminster. You only hear Big Ben on the hour. Now, Big Ben is a very funny name to call a bell, isn't it? It's a very peculiar name to call a bell. Does anyone know why it's called Big Ben?
I did that.
Looking around, does anyone really care why it's called Big Ben? It's called it because when the St Stephen's Clock and Tower was being constructed, the Commissioner of Works was a man called Benjamin Hall. Now, he was a very short, portly man. He was only 4 feet 11 inches tall, and he weighed over 20 stone. And all of the workers on the project said that he did in fact look remarkably like the bell, hence the name Big Ben. Now, this is Big Ben we're about to hear. Couldn't have timed it any better. That is Big Ben. That was Big Ben we heard. Now, that is quite harsh on Benjamin Hall, the Commissioner of Works, naming that bell after him because of his short, portly shape, but it could have turned out a lot worse than that. He was also very heavily involved in that project was his even shorter and even fatter brother, Richard Hall. However, the powers to be at the time, they deemed it grossly inappropriate to call the bell Big Richard. They said, you can't call the bell Richard, it's a ridiculous name, so Big Ben it was. Anyway, folks, on that note, I'm going to conclude the commentary. Now, just a quick word about the commentary. As I said earlier, we're most definitely not professional tour guides. If we did, we'd have the blue badges on. We're not the blue badge guides you see elsewhere in London. We are just members of the boat crew. However, me and my colleague, we feel it's a bit silly, you coming out on our river, not having a clue what you're looking at, so we try and make your trip a little bit more interesting by pointing out a few places of interest along the way. Now, hopefully I succeeded in making your trip not a mystery tour or a wonder tour where you sit there saying, oh, I wonder what that is, I wonder what that is, etc. And hopefully I did succeed in making it a little bit more interesting. If you feel that I did and you'd like to show any voluntary appreciation for our efforts, you may do so upon leaving the vessel. When you leave, I'll be situated by the exit gate with a silver bucket. Now, clearly, there's no obligation to put into our bucket, but by the same token, we're under no obligation to hire this equipment and supply you with a commentary. It is your generosity that keeps our service running. It's entirely up to you. If you want to chuck a couple of bob in, you're more than welcome to do so. And if you don't know what I mean by a couple of bob, then for your convenience, we accept credit cards, debit cards, American Express, ladies' phone numbers, and men's phone numbers for the captain. Right, folks, thanks for your very kind attention. Just check you've got everything with you. Don't ruin your day by leaving something or someone on the boat. Check under your seat, check around your feet. Don't ruin your day by leaving something, or worse than that, someone on the boat. And have a lovely remainder of your day or stay here at Westminster.